I'm attempting to do the impossible by making $100 an hour playing low-stakes poker at my own card room, The Fort, here in Aledo, Texas. In the first 3 episodes, we've managed to work our way up to a more than comfortable 28-20 in just over 17 hours, sitting us way above our goal at $165 an hour. But we can't slow down yet. We have 6 more episodes to sustain our success, so let's jump right into the action as I bring $1,500 over to this 1-3 table. Alright, in the first hand of the night, we look down at Queen 9 of diamonds from the small blind. There's an open to $15 and a call over to me. I decide to make it $70 to go. This is definitely a squeeze play. The original raiser calls, and the player who limped in for $15 now decides to jam for $202. At this point, I'm putting him on a pocket pair, or maybe some suited connector type of hand that wanted to see it for 15 and then just wanted to get it all in.
Hi, I'm Wolfgang, coach at Alvin Teaches Poker, and I'm here today to teach you how Wolfgang could have played the hand better. When you're squeezing, you want to 3-bet stronger than usual because you have to get through 2 players instead of just 1. The weakest hand that I would 3-bet here is probably ace-queen offsuit or ace-jack suited. This hand, way too loose.
Either way, Queen 9 of diamonds is kind of a coin flip in this spot. I really wouldn't blame you guys for folding, but because I'm trying to run up a stack here, I jam my entire stack in for $1,500. So when I jam it in there, the original raiser folds, and we are running it 2 times versus the villain who has ace-jack offsuit. The first board gives me the advantage, and I take half of it on a king-queen 8-5-3 board. The second board, though, gives him the ace right away, making it very hard for me to improve, and sure enough, I do not. That means $477 is getting chopped up, which brings us into a much better hand here when we pick up the Cowboys in Texas. I raise it up to $35 over a few $6 limpers, and 2 players put in the call, bringing us off to the flop, which is drier than the Sahara. It comes 9 deuce deuce rainbow. I bet out super small here for $25, just trying to get called by a pocket 4, pocket 5, or maybe a hand like 10 jack of spades or queen 10 of diamonds, something that has double back doors. But when both players fold, it's 2 for 2 here, chopping the first hand, winning the second one, and the poker gods are definitely on our side here to start off the session when we look down at pocket jacks. The jiggities here, the straddle's on for 6, there's a limper, a raise to 25, and when the action's on me, of course, I'm going to be 3-betting it up to the tune of $75. But what I don't expect is a small blind now to 4-bet to $275, putting me in a really gross spot. Here in Texas, we play the button straddle has ultimate last action, which means that dude over there in the blue hat and white hoodie gets to act last. So the action's back on me here. I would be in position the rest of the way, but ultimately I decided to pick a better spot here and fold my jacks. You just don't see that rare 4-bet all too often.
This might seem nitty to viewers, but folding jacks here is absolutely standard. When your opponent makes a 4-bet very large, this is a great fold.
The poker gods are playing a joke on us when we look down in the very next hand at pocket jacks once again from the low jack. I make it $15 to go, and the player on my direct left puts in the call. That guy over there who just jammed his $200 stack in the middle, yeah, that's my buddy Drew, and he likes to play cards at a very aggressive pace. So when he ships his entire stack in for $200, which if I'm gonna needle you real quick, Drew, why do you only have $200 in front of you and you're wearing like a $20,000 watch? Well, that's above my pay grade. I'm not going anywhere. Of course, I'm gonna put more money in the middle, and we are gonna run this out one time, we decided, and it turns out that he just had ace of hearts. That hits the muck, and $426 is my reward. Well, hey Drew, at least you can go into your pocket now and rebuy for a full $1,000. Just a friendly reminder, you guys, to scroll down and hit that subscribe button so you guys don't miss any of the next 6 episodes of this series. Pocket pairs galore here at the Fort. It's approaching 9 p.m. now, and I look down at the ladies. You know, the ladies always come out at night. I make it $15 to go, and we get 2 callers over to my Ukrainian buddy Sergey, who 3-bets to $50. I promise here at the Fort, there's not too many Europeans, but Sergey's one of the nice ones. But we still got to punish him here with a 4-bet to $150. It's the 3rd best hand in poker, and we'll be in position the rest of the way, so that seems like a great recipe for success. He puts in the call from the small blind, and the flop comes 2 overcards to our queens, because why wouldn't it? Ace, king, 8 with 2 clubs. Sergey checks it over to me. I bet out for 1/3 and he puts in the call, bringing in the 10 of diamonds. When he checks it over to me, I decide to check behind here. I'm double blocking queen, jack, and if he has an ace or a king, he's probably going to get sticky and put in the call. So let's check behind on the turn, see what he does on the river, and reevaluate. Well, the river comes the 6 of clubs. I have the queen of clubs, which blocks a lot of flushes, but when he checks it over to me for a 3rd time, I think I'm going to check behind here and get to showdown. Please don't show me a hand like king, jack. And he doesn't. He shows me 2 jacks. So queens are 1 pip higher than the jacks. Luckily for me, on this 2 overcard board, we're still taking down $553 of straight profit. In this next hand, we look down at pocket 9s from the hijack. We're absolutely cruising in this session, up $700 already, and this is definitely the start I needed to get to $100 an hour over 100 hours. I open up pocket 9s and get 3 callers off to a pretty boring flop of 10-10-3. I take a stab into this pretty dry board for $40 and everyone folds. So
On paired boards, small bets are very effective both as bluff and for thin value, so I would have preferred to see a smaller bet, something like 25% of the pot, facing so many opponents.
taking out another nice sized pot here, which definitely helps the hourly. In this next hand, we look down at jack king off and there's a raise to 25. I'm on the $6 button straddle and toss in the additional $19, and Mackenzie, our very famous dealer, who's dealt everything from main event final tables to everything in between, puts out a very good flop for me. I am an owner here at the Ford. I'll call it home field advantage. Jack 3-3 is just what the doctor ordered. Sergey checks it over to me and I decide to get tricky here and check behind, hopefully inducing a bet on the 6 of spades turn. That's exactly what happens. He stabs for $30 and of course I put in the call. Side note, I could decide to go for a raise here and try to target a 2 diamond type of hand, but that's not what I decided to do. In the river comes the 5 of spades. Looks like he's giving up and checks it over to me. There's 114 in the middle and I'm out for $75, just trying to get a crying call from a hand like pocket 10s, pocket 9s, ace king, ace queen. But Sergey's a very good player and folds his cards, which means we're taking out another pot, and that is incredible. Seems like we haven't lost all day, and over a $6 limp in this next hand. We're still in the hijack and I make it $30 to go with pocket 5s. People call it the speed limit because you know 55. I call it pocket Cinco de Mayo's, baby. Let's have a fiesta. We pick up 3 callers and the flop comes queen, 7, 5, bang, we flop bottom set.
While against professionals, I would check my entire range multi-way, I think in the presence of recreationals, betting very small here is very good.
Of course, I'm gonna bet out on this very wet board. I fire out for $15 and Steven in the +1 check raises me to 45 bones. I put in the call, bringing us off to the turn, which comes the 4 of diamonds, and Steven fires out for $65. My first instinct is just a snap call, but then I think about, could I go for a raise here? What exactly would I get value from? I think pocket 7s is a hand he could have re-raised me on the flop with. He also could have a hand like queen jack with the jack of spades or ace queen with the ace of spades, something with a 1 spade in his hand. Of course, he could already have the flush or maybe a straight now on the turn. 6-8 just got there, so I don't really think I want to raise him right here right now. I just put in the call once again. Unfortunately for us, the board does not pair on the river. Instead, it brings in another spade, the 6 of spades this time, and there's 344 in the middle. I'm very surprised to see that Steven wants to check and get to a showdown. Let's take our pocket 5s, which is a flop set, to showdown, and I check behind. He tables queen and 9 for top pair. That's not gonna cut it, Steven. Ship $344 my way. I maybe could have got a little bit of extra value on the river, but I wouldn't have sized up more than $50.
Okay, I'm here with Roman Hrabec. He has won a Triton. He has $12 million in career hand and mob earnings, so I feel like he's a perfect person to ask. Roman, I'm doing a challenge in Texas where I'm playing 1-3 and I'm playing 100 hours and I'm trying to make $100 an hour. Do you think that's possible?
I wouldn't bet that you're gonna make it, but I hope you will.
Okay, let's get into the hands. Let's go. Thank you. Yeah, appreciate it.
All right, this next hand gets kind of weird, so you guys need to pay attention from the beginning. I look down at 7-6 of spades from the cutoff, and I make it $15 to go. Brian in the big blind puts in the call, and if you guys couldn't already tell, we're in Texas, but Brian had to wear it on his shirt as well. Off to a flop we go, and this time Allison is dealing and puts out a pretty interesting flop of 10-8-4 with 2 diamonds. In position on Brian here, let's see what he does, and he decides to lead out into me for 30 bucks. I guess he's saying that this board is better for him than it is for me, but I have a gut shot to the straight here, so I decide to put in the call, and we drill it right on the turn. The 5 of clubs peel off. Bang! We turn the straight. Not only do we have the straight, we have the absolute nuts on this board. At this point, there is not one hand better than mine, so when Brian checks it over to me, of course we're going to go for value on this very wet board. 2 diamonds, 2 clubs. The board is connected. Jack 9 has the open-ended straight draw, so I need to get value and also protect my hand. I fire out for $75, and Brian puts in the call once again. A little bit worrisome, but I think he has 10-8 at best. Maybe he has a flush draw or a straight draw, so when the river comes the queen of diamonds, which brings in Jack 9, and it also brings in the front door flush. I don't really love this spot, but hopefully Brian just checks over to me. I go probably for another thin value bet, and he just calls. That's not exactly what happens though. He looks very excited to see that queen of diamonds and just leads out for $130. So what gets there? 9-7, Jack 8, the most obvious draw being the flush draw. And 6-7 of spades, even though it was the nuts on the turn, has been downgraded all the way to just a bluff catcher. Yes, I have a straight, but it's just a bluff catcher. And at these low stakes here, 1-3 in Texas, people just aren't bluffing that much. They're not just leading out into you with a bluff. So after hemming and hawing for a long time, I decide to fold my cards, expecting him to show me a better hand. And he shows for the vlog, which is great news, until he turns over pocket aces. Ace of spades, ace of hearts, completely owned me. I didn't ask him if that was a value bet or a bluff. What a disgusting spot. Nice hand, Brian. All right, 2 hands to go here in episode 4 of my $100 an hour challenge. The $6 straddles out there. There's a raise to 25 and a call. Action's on me in the big blind with 10-9 of diamonds. I'm sitting at 2,300 in my stack, which is a profit of $800 at the moment. I could go for the squeeze here, or I could just put in 1 green chip and try to take a cheap flop here and cooler someone. That's exactly what we're gonna do. We're going 4 ways to the flop here, and it comes king 7 deuce with 2 diamonds. Exactly what I wanted when I limped in for 25 bucks. The action checks through on the flop, bringing in the 7 of spades on the turn. It's not a diamond, but from my big blind position, the 7 of spades should hit me more than my opponents. So when it checks all the way around to the button and he stabs for a small 40% size of the pot bet, my alarm bells are going off here that he just doesn't have that great of a hand. It just feels like he's taking a stab. Why would he check behind on the flop with a king? So I decided to check raise him here, and I don't know if this is way too aggressive or just a brilliant play, but I make it $135 just telling the table I have the 7 and you guys don't.
On the turn, we should check our entire range. So often when we have bluffs or traps, they're gonna come from us check raising the turn. I really like this play, and the fact that Wolfgang is thinking about defending his range when he checks twice, even in multi-way pots. Good job.
But what I didn't expect to happen was the guy in middle position to just check jam for $430. He checked the flop, checked the turn, and now he wants to put all of his money in the middle. The button ends up folding, which is exactly what I thought he was going to do to my raise, but I just fold my cards here. 10 high is just not going to be good. I don't have the straight draw to go along with it, and if I make a pair of 10s or 9s on the river, it might not be good as well. So I muck my cards, but in the last hand of the night, I'm under the gun with ace-9 of clubs, a suited ace, a great spot here, and I make it $15 to go. We're gonna get 3-bet by that guy over there with the White Sox hat. He goes by T. He's a regular here at the fort, a very nice guy, but I kind of hate him in this spot. He just 3-bet me to $55, and then another opponent puts in the call.
After facing a 3-bet and a raise, we should continue extremely tightly from this position. I would even fold ace-queen offsuit and ace-jack suited here.
Action's on me. I'll be out of position against T and in position on the small blind, but we are going to go 3 ways to the flop here when I put in the call. The flop gives me 2 pair on an ace-3-3 with 2 spades board, and the action checks all the way over to T, who fires out for $100. Steven gets out of the way, and of course I put in the call. There's some draws out there. He could be value betting with a hand like kings or queens. I might be ahead, but the turn now comes the 10 of hearts. The only hand that improves here in this 10 of hearts is pocket 10s exactly. If he had ace 10, he already had me beat. So when I check it over to him in this nearly $400 pot, he fires out for $315, keeping the pedal to the metal. Action's on me. I'm in a tough spot here, and one thing I always pride myself on is, even though it looks nitty sometimes, I'm always looking for a better spot. If I put in the call here, he's looking to size up on the river and maybe shove his entire stack in. If I'm calling for 315 here out of position, I'm gonna have to be prepared to call off the rest of his stack on the river on a non-spade.
I think Alex's turn fold is very standard, but we could have saved ourselves an extra $140 if we had better pre-flop discipline.
I'm not gonna do that. I decided to fold my cards, and I guess we'll never know what he had because he ends up folding his cards back over to Patrick the dealer.
My verdict? I think Wolfgang could have made a few $100 more, playing slightly more accurate bet sizings and playing more accurately pre-flop. B+.
We are racking up a nice size stack here, more than what I came in with. I bought in for $1,500. I cash out for $1,898 and just over 7.5 hours of play for a nice little profit of $398. That brings our episode 4 total to $3,218 in the green in 24.5 hours, bringing our current hourly to a whopping $131 an hour with 25% of the challenge done. If you guys enjoyed this video, there's 2 more on your screen right now. Click one of those to keep on watching. Make sure you guys hit the subscribe button in order to not miss out on any future episodes. Good luck on the felt, you guys, and as always, I'll catch you in the next video. Peace!